A gun and suicide bomb attack on Istanbul's Ataturk International Airport has killed 36 people and injured more than 140. Shortly before the blast, 3 gunmen with AK-47 rifles exchanged gunfire with security guards outside the airport's international terminal. They then blew themselves up after police fired at them. The Turkish Prime Minister, Binali Yildirim, has said the early signs indicate Daesh was behind the attack. We have people covering the story at the airport, from the hospital and on the border with Syria. Let's go to Shamim Chowdhury first, who is on location at Ataturk Airport. Shamim, this is one of the busiest airports in the world. What is the scene right now?
Well, Natasha, we are standing literally meters away from where the devastating attacks took place just 9 hours ago last night. If I move away, you'll see the arrivals hall just behind me. This is where the 3 suicide bombers entered the airport and killed 36 people and injured about 147 or so. The road behind me is still wet, and that's because there's been a rigorous cleanup operation that's been going on this morning, with many airport staff using water jets, power jets to clean away some of the blood. I saw some blood as I was coming in today. So on the one hand, it's, clearly the remnants of last night's attacks are still going on. But on the other hand, life at the airport is slowly going back to normal. It's not quite there yet, but we've seen passengers come in and go out and check in. Flights have been, normal service of flights have been resumed for quite some time now. Some passengers are quite nonchalant, others seem frustrated. I spoke to one who said that he'd been hanging around all night. So on the one hand, steps towards normality, but on the other hand, there is, as I say, a massive cleanup operation, and also an underlying sense of tension in the airport, which we've noticed. Just about half an hour or so ago, there was a false alarm. A tyre on a bus exploded, but at least a dozen or so airport staff hurtled towards it. So that gives you a sense of the tension that we're still seeing at the airport.
Shamim, let's talk about the security situation there. Turkey is renowned for its rigorous security. You have to go through 2 sets of security points, including before you actually enter the airport itself. What's that like at the moment?
Well, going into the airport is, as you say, very, very secure. And this is something that makes it distinct from airports like, say, Brussels, for example, where the terror attacks took place in March and the gunmen actually managed to get right inside the airport. That wasn't the case here, and that is because within meters of entering, as soon as you go through the doors at security into the arrivals hall at Ataturk, you have to go through security gates straight away. There's no, there's no going inside. There's no loitering inside the arrivals hall, as there are in many airports. That is still in place. We've seen people queuing up, getting their luggage through, but there is a heightened sense of security as well. Cars have been stopped this morning coming in, which isn't normal. Our cars were stopped and searched, and there is a visible presence of security services in and around the airport as well, many of them armed, and many more police cars than you would normally see. So certainly a stepping up of security this morning.
Shamim Chowdhury at Ataturk Airport. We will continue to get updates from you throughout the day. Thank you. Well, many of those injured in the blast were rushed to a nearby hospital. Yolo Abdafford joins me now from outside of the hospital. Yolo, do we know anything about the victims, and what is the scene like there right now?
It's getting busy here at the moment. It has been quiet, but people are arriving for work. There are also people here trying to find out more information about relatives and people that they know who are here in Bakırköy State Hospital behind me. This is the closest hospital to the airport, and around 50 people, we understand, were taken from the airport to here. Now, when we arrived at first light, there were still relatives outside crying. Obviously had been in to visit their relatives and their loved ones, and there were people who were upset because they could see how many of their family members had been injured. But now yes, the security here, people are arriving for work, and I think I could say that the atmosphere is calm but subdued.
Yellow, as we speak to you, we are revisiting the images of people being rushed to hospital, and many of the family and friends of those people looking, well, devastated to say the least. Do we know more about what kind of injuries these people have sustained?
No, that's very difficult to find out at the moment. I have been in to talk to hospital staff, and apart from actually acknowledging that there are around 50 people being looked at here and being treated here, they will not give any more information. So we won't know the extent of the injuries. We don't know precisely how bad those injuries are, and there may be more information tomorrow. But in terms of what we've seen and the relatives that we've seen outside, and some of them are visibly upset when they come out, there's no other information as yet. And we know from the wires so far this morning that around 147 people were injured in those blasts at the airport just a few miles down the road from here last night.
Yolo Ap David, thank you. Ediz Tianshan joins me now from the Turkish city of Gaziantep near the border with Syria. Ediz, we know that the Turkish government has pointed the finger at Daesh for this attack. What is the latest in Turkey's fight against Daesh, particularly where you are right at the coalface?
Well, true, but the Turkish Prime Minister Binali Yildirim pointed out yesterday that according to findings by the Turkish security forces, he said that Daesh must have carried out the attack. While he also left an open door, he said that an investigation is still underway since nobody has yet claimed responsibility. But it wouldn't be such a surprise to have Daesh as a prime target, mainly because they have carried out various attacks inside Turkish soil in the past, even just in this year alone. But also remember that Turkey is a key actor when it comes to fighting against Daesh. Remember, United States is currently leading a campaign, particularly with its coalition forces. They are organizing attacks, operations across the border, but they are using the Turkish airbase called Incirlik in the city of Adana, which is only about 100 kilometers from here. And Turkey is also participating in these operations, not just in aerial combat, but also Daesh has in the past fired several rockets across the border inside the Turkish soil on cities like Kilis, which is only about 4 kilometers from Turkish border. And the Turkish army also responds by shelling by its tanks across the border. Now, above all of that, we also know that the Turkish police is conducting operations with increasing momentum lately, that they have been arresting a lot of suspects, potentially sleeper cells of Daesh inside Turkish soil, in a way, in an attempt to prevent such incidents from happening.
Oh, as you mentioned there, Ediz, as shocking as these most recent events are, they aren't altogether surprising given what is going on inside of Turkey. And because Turkey is not just facing Daesh, there are other terror threats like the PKK and also TAK.
Most certainly, Natasha, and that's why Daesh is not just the only suspect when you look around. Now, Turkey is dealing with a set of various security challenges these days, aside from Daesh. Since last year, when the peace talks collapsed between the Turkish government and the PKK terror group, clashes have erupted, particularly in the southeastern part of the country between the PKK militia and Turkish Turkish security forces, and they have also carried out various attacks, particularly in the southeastern part of the country. But PKK is not alone in this. Their urban military wing called TAK has also carried out a set of attacks in urban areas, including big cities like Istanbul and the capital Ankara in the past. Now, aside from PKK and TAK, we also have their Syrian branch, which is the PYD. That's a political party, but they have a military wing also called YPG, and they have also carried out cross-border attacks inside Turkish soil. And remember, YPG is right now ironically supported by one of Turkey's main allies, the United States. So that puts Turkey at odds with the United States currently. But just to make it clear, Turkey is facing a lot of challenges on many fronts, and it includes groups like PKK, TAK, and YPG. Daesh is not alone in its fight with Turkey and carrying out attacks terror attacks inside Turkish soil.
Edis Tianshan on the Turkish-Syrian border. Thank you.